Hey everybody, Catherine here. This is a very bare bones video I'm doing today for these kinds of times. I want to talk today about something that's been obviously extremely present in the world, the unknown with the COVID virus, and share an insight that's been really important to my own healing in the midst of all of this universal healing, which is that we don't actually fear the unknown. We fear what we project into the unknown from our past lived experience. So we don't actually fear the unknown. We fear our projections into it. And so it's not essentially human, as I know I've thought in the past, to fear the unknown, because if that were the case, then little children and babies would be afraid all the time, right? Because everything is new to them and unknown. So the more we've felt unsafe, particularly in our early life, in our childhood, the more we're going to be terrified by the unknown. And so in just a little bit, I want to lead you through a very simple, brief exercise that will help you to trace back the feelings that you have now amidst this coronavirus huge global shift into the unknown to your own life, and thus bring awareness and healing there. Let me just share a little bit about my own. So I'm right in front of a window, so my face is all blanched out. So you can't see I'll just show you, the Kleenex. This is my pile of Kleenex. These are my decks that I use. The card and the thumbnail is from Rebecca Campbell's Starseed Oracle. You can't, sorry, it's so blanched out, which I like a lot. So anyway, yeah, I am very much in process. 15 minutes ago, I was crying and realizing something very essential to my own blocks and fears of the unknown. So you are not alone if this is you too, even us who are healers. And I'd like to say, especially us, hopefully, especially most of us who identify as healers are very much on this journey ourselves. Being a healer doesn't mean that we have it figured out. There is no figuring it out. As long as we're in a body, we're going to be afraid. We're going to have self-doubt. That's just part of being in the arena. And we're all in the arena together. So my particular realization, some of you know I've been struggling very hard with insomnia. I have an 8-month-old daughter. It's not because of her waking up. It's because of my own mind. I sleep in a separate room from her. My husband sleeps in the same room as her because I hallucinate her noises at night, and that wakes me up. But even when I'm not in the same room, I'm still waking up a lot and sometimes don't sleep at all. So this has been the medicine, the terror, the struggle that's really brought me and that is bringing me home to myself in really powerful ways and in a heightened way with the coronavirus. As I also am feeling collective fear on top of that, as I'm sure many of you are as well. So I've felt a soul urge to let go, to surrender. I know conceptually that my insomnia is about teaching me to let go more, to surrender. And I have a past of complex PTSD, developmental trauma. And so it's very hard for me to feel safe enough to let go. It has been historically extremely hard for me to not feel immense pressure to figure things out myself, to rely on other people to receive help and support. I know I'm not the only one out there with this issue. So the big realization I had last night when I was up, at 3 a.m, was that, well, I just saw my child self in front of me, and it dawned on me just how unsafe I always felt. Just how wound up, just how frozen and rigid I always felt because I was just not okay. At any moment, abuse could happen, and there was no one to protect me from it. Um, and of course, I've known this about my childhood conceptually for so many years, even decades. And yet, there was something about it last night that really, I felt it in my body. I had this felt sense of exactly how hard it was for me at that time. And thus, how hard it is for me in the present to feel relaxed, to feel okay, to accept help, to feel like there is even help, even though my husband is like the most helpful person and generous person and so there for me. My child body, my inner child was still very much struggling to accept that help. And there was something, so I wrote a letter to my childhood self in the wee hours last night, a letter a letter from love to my childhood self. And I got this idea from Elizabeth Gilbert on Insight Timer. She has a really lovely talk about that, writing a letter to yourself from love. So I did that to my child self. I wrote 6 pages, and it was immensely healing. And it was a gentle invitation to her to look up from her despair and see the beauty and abundance of help and support in her life now in the present. One of my favorite definitions of trauma is when we can't help but interpret events in the present in light of a painful past. So trauma is when we can't help but interpret events in the present in light of a painful past. That might be Bessel van der Kolk saying that. And that's exactly what I was doing, is even though this abundance of help, support, love is in my present, something about in me couldn't see it, couldn't accept it. And that is the definition of trauma. So when I wrote this letter and I had this gentle invitation to her to look up and see, it was like she was ready to hear it. So even though conceptually I'd known this about myself, my childhood for so long, again, sometimes we reach a point in our healing where we're just, even though we're not saying anything new to ourselves, there's something within us that's ready to hear the message in our hearts, to take it in. And that was for me last night. And I'm sure it's not perfect, right? So I like to say, and this is from Kelly Brogan, I think, never perfect, never all the time. So this is a realization I had. It's not going to stick around. It will come and go. But I hope that that seed is really planted, and I do feel that it's planted in a deep way. So how I'm feeling this is I feel a calmness and peace in my heart. There's a lack of a gripping that is often there for me around the heart space. And there's this feeling that, even though I'm a tired mom and I'm not a perfect mom, I don't have the judgment or the reflexes of a perfect mom because I'm tired. I can't share in my infant's joy to the extent perhaps that I would if I was rested, right? So even though I'm not a perfect mom, and I've really, really, really beat myself up for that in the past, even though I'm not perfect, that it's okay. What if it's okay? What if there is support and help and a net for me now, even though there wasn't in the past? And so it's been really helpful, even in the few hours that I've had this realization. It's already super helpful to me. So I don't want to hang out here super long, but I do want to give you a little opportunity to tune in, drop in, and see just for a few minutes what this could be for yourself. So if you're ready to do that, if not, you can pause this video and get comfortable. But just get comfortable somehow. Again, we're not going to be here for more than a few minutes. So just sit or lie down, take some deep breaths. Feel your body, the weight of your body right here. Breathing into the space inside you. And when you're ready, invite into your heart the unknown, the unknown. And observe how your body responds to that. Do you notice an expansion or a contraction, for example? The unknown. Do you notice a numbness, perhaps? Or maybe even excitement? So, whatever you notice, name it. Get curious about where it is in your body and name that. And once you have some labels for what you're feeling about the unknown, invite your psyche to bring to mind the first time that you felt this similar feeling. Allowing whatever comes up first to be real. Breathing now into this time and place. Looking around you and seeing who else is there, if anyone. Where you are. How old you are. Breathing for now into this younger body and noticing how you feel. Putting a label on these feelings, these body sensations, and these emotions. And once you've felt into what's there, I'd like you to switch perspectives and invite now your adult self into the space with your younger self. Seeing your younger self from the perspective of your adult self at a respectable distance. And simply noticing what you notice about your younger self. Their body language, what they seem to be feeling. Breathing into that. Noticing how they react to your presence. They make eye contact with you or not. And feel and hear yourself now reflecting back to them what you see them feeling and validating it. I see that you feel really scared. It's okay to feel scared. And keep going with whatever else you feel needs to be reflected back to them. Making sure that you're not saying something to them like, I love you or you're so great, but rather just reflecting what they're already feeling. I see that you're so sad. I see that you feel completely alone. Whatever else it might be. You're more than welcome to pause this video if you're listening to the recording and reflect back whatever else is needed. And now, from a place of tenderness in your heart, with a deep listening presence, ask them, what do you need? Just see what they say, and maybe it's nothing. Maybe they don't know. That's okay. If that's the case, simply reflect back. It's okay not to know what you need. But if they give you an idea of what they need, see and feel yourself meeting that need. And go ahead and pause this video to continue to ask this question until it feels complete. What else is needed? Always doing this on their terms, never assuming anything about what it would be rational for them to need, right? Always on their terms. That's where the healing happens. Just feel what it's like to meet your child self's needs or your younger self's needs in your own adult body. Maybe they don't want you to meet their needs. Maybe they want time and space alone, and that's completely okay. Whatever they want. Again, feel free to pause this and continue the process until it's complete. But if it feels complete, you can assure them in your heart that you're always with them and start to come back to your time and space right now. Opening your eyes if they're closed. And so, if you would like to do that process in more detail or depth, I recommend doing my inner child healing meditation, which is available on my website under shop, but it's also very newly available for free on Insight Timer on that app, which is also free. So you might as well download Insight Timer and search for my name and then do the inner child healing meditation. So I hope that this has been helpful in some way to help you navigate the unknown right now. And I wish you a really beautiful day and a really beautiful opening to yourself in these times. Bye-bye.